What's good, everybody? Welcome to the SFL breakdown show for myself and Lazarus. This is week 10. It's like the final week of non-playoff Street Fighter League. So we are here. We are concluding the regular season. Everybody has faced each other once, twice at this point. They're looking to kind of break out the intel, I think, really bring to the table what they've learned over the course of Street Fighter League, right? What they could use against the opponents, what type of meta has developed in a kind of confined environment like this. I always feel like something like this, or these tournaments that are invitationals, they kind of have their own meta that develops over the course of the tournament, depending on what's good, and then other people using it as they see it's good and whatnot. So of course that's going to be all on the table. Myself, Reynald, Lazarus, how you doing, fam?
Yeah, no, I'm doing good. I mean, that was a pretty good summary, I think. Like, this week to me kind of was like the most competitive week. You know, it was definitely the closest in terms of each game really coming down. There was not really that many blowouts. I think there's maybe like one or two. And even like, you know, the best player, someone like MenaRD, who originally looked completely undefeatable, just obviously losing today. So, well, like last week. So yeah, that's just kind of that environment that gets cultivated when all these players are like stuck in the same place for so long, playing each other for so long. And yeah, like I said, it was definitely really exciting. It was weird. This is definitely like the week I think I've written the least amount of notes for, because it was like, it was just like the players had gotten like good enough to the point where there was almost like nothing to highlight. They were just playing so well against each other. There was like, it was hard to pick a moment that really stuck out to me in the games, at least.
I feel that there's definitely a lot at this point of where nobody's getting really exposed for their lack of knowledge anymore, right? Like here at week 10, like everybody has kind of learned a lot, so you don't really see as many of these little things that you can kind of make note of and be like, oh, this is how that works and whatnot. Everybody kind of knows how everything works, and now it's just like who's making the better decisions. So I'm definitely
a lot of RPS situations I found, and a lot of players, like the ones where there was a blowout, was like, oh, they were just on that like mental game level, like higher. And it's hard to break that down because realistically it's just coming down to conditioning and your like mental game. And sometimes it just happens, you know, in the first of three, the first of two, sometimes you're just gonna guess wrong a few times, and that's kind of what happens even at the highest level.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that's what it comes down to. I think in any high level competition, sometimes you have to make a read, right? It's part of pretty much anything that's competitive. And sometimes you get the read sometimes and you don't, right? Like even this past sets that I commentated with 801 Strider and Chris T, like Strider was like, Chris T just had the reads today, you know what I mean? And Chris T was like, yeah. He was like, I'm trying to work more on my defense. He was like, it seems good, but today could just be one of those days where I had all the right decisions. So definitely always something to consider. But of course, we are going to start with, what is it? We have UIU versus Nasser. We have Dual Kevin versus VxBao though. And I forgot, let me see. I have this whole set of videos with my timestamps down already. I think my first one was around this mark here towards the end of the first round. Let me pull up my notes. We had, oh yeah, this right here. I just feel like this is something we've seen VxBao do time and time again. Like he has another thing he does later where he likes to whiff things and then do something afterwards, right? I think the whiff stand heavy kick into the crouch medium punch, I feel like that's a staple. He does whiff forward medium punch later and he parries. That's another staple. Like it's just one of those things that VxBao always brings out to kind of make the opponent second guess what they want to do in the neutral or what they want to do when they see him whiff.
Yeah, exactly. It is like this high level strategy that, like, you know, if you're not using it, you probably should, like, because if you whiff something pretty big, like and you're not immediately getting whiff punished, then they're gonna have to do something to try and whiff punish you. And if they miss the timing or if they're out of range, like, yeah, your counter poke's gonna blow up their counter poke. So it's something you may as well throw out. You know, obviously there's ways to blow that out. You know, if Dual Kevin decided to walk up a little bit, then stand heavy punch, you would have got big counter hit confirm. So there's definitely risk attached to it, but you know, VxBao has kind of that timing down. I think Marissa's kind of that perfect character for that because she has such big, you know, whiffable moves.
Yeah, exactly, right? Definitely a downside to it, as you mentioned. Like, it's definitely not some just free strategy that you're going to get hits with. Of course, the opponent can look for it and punish. But yeah, that's another one right there, right? Like, he has so many ways to kind of look for parry, look for the opponent to try to take their turn. I think it's a huge part of this game, right? Is being able to take your turn back and then manipulate your opponent when you know they're going to try to take their turn, whether that be with parry, whether it be with an invincible reversal off like a -2 situation, like a classic -2. It can be -3 in this game, right? Anything that's not actually going to be punishable, you can kind of bust out with an invincible reversal. In this game, you also have parry. In this game, you also have DI if it's like from a farther distance and you're expecting them to go into a 2-piece or an uncancelable button. Like I think that's just such a big part of Street Fighter 6.
Mind games, yeah, for sure. Like in that, like it sounds so simple. You know, you just do a faraway poke. Like I don't know, for example, something like Grambler. You know, you do stick out a button, it's minus. You take your turns swinging, and maybe spacing wise, you might walk back and get a whip punish, and that's kind of what you're looking for. In this game, there's so much more mind game to do with that mid game spacing.
So much, man.
That there's so much more to worry about, and that is what makes it so hard sometimes. And part of that is that strength of parry. Of course, you can kind of throw it out as long as you're not in throw range. It is difficult to punish. But yeah, I mean, actually, we did skip past, I think, one of my first points that I want to bring up is that 38-10. I found this funny because this is dual Kevin, and I've been talking about that offensive drive reversal a lot that he sort of patented, I will say. Right here, he tries to do the same on dual Kevin, but he kind of made the tech. He knows, so he does the low forward, empty cancels it, does nothing. And Big Bird's trying to get that offensive drive reversal. He has so much meat to work with, so of course it looks really juicy. And dual Kevin's like, well, he kind of had a big read there and actually didn't cancel his low forward. And it was just funny to see because I was like, this is dual Kevin's strategy, and I was like, I'm so excited to see more people use it, just not against him.
yeah, for sure. And it's funny because you bring up the DI point, and I actually had this down in my notes too. I was going to skip over it, but since we're right here, I might as well talk about it. He really does have a lot of cool ways to use the different universal mechanics, like you mentioned, the offensive drive reversal. He was the one that was really abusing it first in SFL. And here too, I love the fact that he did wake up DI here, because I feel like when you have that low of drive meter, the opponent is coming for your drive gauge, right? And because of that, I think with Marisa specifically, she has these big buttons that she'll go into a two-piece on, like the knee into the Gladius or something like that, to try to get that amount of meter. So I actually kind of like him just going for the DI. We did see the Gladius, and it didn't kind of work out at a right timing for Big Bird, because that can break armor or can absorb the DI hit if it's timed right. So it is a little bit dangerous, but I still thought this DI was pretty cool. Pretty cool idea on Wake Up.
Yeah, that's kind of the second time as well dual Kev's done it. I think earlier on, I wasn't going to point out either, but he does like a drive reverse when he's got a fraction of meter left. He's like trying to burn out on his terms, which we see quite often. And a lot of people do it with like the DP, some of these riskier options, like the DI right there. But the drive reverse was also another great one, because obviously it's quite expensive at 2 bars, but hey, if you got like a fraction of a bar left, technically it was really cheap. And you get them off of you and give it a chance to breathe while you're in burnout, gives you a chance to recover, things like that.
Yeah, I remember the moment you're talking about too, because I have that down in my notes where it was off of target combo into a special, right? So he drive reversaled because you knew Big Bird was going to commit to the special because it was going to be unsafe. So it was a very smart time to drive reversal. I really like that a lot.
But yeah, other than that, it was tough. I had so many good notes for really good plays that dual Kevin did throughout this set. But then he ended up losing it, obviously. Fairly convincingly. I feel like that's happened with a lot of Big Bird sets that he's won. He's kind of like, I guess he's, for me, he's just always playing so solid. And in general, I feel like the only way you really blow him out is having a really powerful offense, especially against the cat when he's playing Marisa, right? Really, the lack of reversal kind of hurting her.
Absolutely.
That's when he struggles, and I feel like dual Kevin was trying to play a little bit too safe, and that kind of let him down, I think.
Yeah, and that has been kind of dual Kevin's MO, in my opinion. He has been like a very safe, block it out type player. And a lot of the time, it makes him get the W's because he's so solid, but sometimes it doesn't work out.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, his the tech with the offensive drive reversal, that kind of comes from that, right? Is that patient kind of passive style where he's like, okay, how can I use that to my advantage? But obviously that works for you on defense, but on offense, he's still patient. He's still waiting a lot. And I think you kind of need to, especially Marisa, you need to go in, right? She's a bit healthier. It's hard to out trade her. I think at one point I highlighted at 940. If you want to just jump back for a second, I only just looked at it, but he gets hit by a raw Superman punch, and I was so surprised. It wasn't punish count or anything. It just did so much more damage than I was expecting. That. I was like, it really does that much damage?
Right? Just
it's
raw
not
hit.
Get hit by too often. But I was like, geez, that's like 4 sonic booms hitting you in a row. What the hell, man? Just for walking forward at the wrong time. Ugh. I was like, yeah, this is why it's so hard to play an attrition game versus her. He just lands one hit and it evens it out immediately.
Yeah, and I think this timestamp that I had initially was also one of those same things where he just ends up running into Gladius here, like where he just
yeah.
walks forward, and it's like, bro, look
This
at
one.
how much damage he took. No counter
That's a full
hit.
combo. That's a
Yeah.
jury combo. Like, what?
Ridiculous, right? No counter hit, no nothing. Him just trying to inch forward, and it's so important to kind of inch forward and get just outside that range to get the whiff punish, right? So
Exactly.
sometimes you're gonna have moments like this, and just like, bro, I really, like you said, ate a full combo from another character just from walking into a special move. It hurts sometimes for sure. This is one of the moments I think I really enjoyed that I thought was a little bit that we can elaborate on. I think it was just Big Bird kind of controlling this corner, and I really like the way he played around crouch medium punch for Luke. I think he does a good job of kind of walking back and showing Dual Kevin, like a usual rhythm of his back and walking forward. And then at the last moment, he stops walking forward. He changes the rhythm just a bit to where he would have walked forward. He just down backs at a range just outside crouch medium punch, and he gets either a counter hit or a whiff punish. I just really liked it. It was like, right, and then he stops there, and yeah, it was the counter hit. Yeah, I just really like the way he moved around in this corner, this micro movement to kind of play around the crouch medium punch. And he shows Kevin that he's like, all right, I'll be in range. And that's when, instead of walking around, he just hits him.
Yeah, for sure. I see what you mean now. Dual Kevin's like walking up, thinking that Big Bird's gonna try walking back, so I can try and get in range. I've got enough drive gauge for a drive rush cancel now, so I can like look for it. And then like that first one, he's like, okay, exactly. I'm gonna try that again. Now I've got the meter. And yeah, Big Bird just times it perfectly. He's like, sees that walk forward immediately, like, all right.
Yeah, see, like, so yeah, just to take it like step by step. Like we see I think the first one comes around after this kick, right, is where he really starts it. So yeah, he has that walk forward, crouch into walk back, right? He shows that there. He does it again here, another walk forward, a crouch for a second into a walk back, and then he does it one more time. And at that moment that he would usually walk back, he presses the crouch medium punch instead. I was like, wow, that is some minute manipulation on the ground for sure.
I mean, if you really want to go into it, like I think you could even be debating whether Big Bird's like taking the meter into account, right? Because he knows it's true. Because obviously that first one he blocked, like it wasn't drive rush cancel because he would have been in burnout. So like that's got to be on your mind. Like, okay, that's why he didn't do it. And then now he's like, oh, he's definitely looking for it so he can get his offense. I mean, look, it's one touch away. As long as he's not in burnout, he's gonna be happy to with the sliver he left.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
He just takes that into account and knows like now's the time,
So I thought that was super impressive. And then on top of that, I have this down. I can't remember the specific moment, but I have this down as potential footsies moment of the week. So I want to see what this was. Okay. I remember there was some really sick footsie moment.
I think I know. It's the one on Gladius, right? Oh no, it's that one.
It was this one. Yeah, it was this one where it's just like into the stand medium kick, slight walk back, huge punish with the stand heavy kick too. Like he knew. That's one of those where when you get a punish that big, that's exactly what you're looking for. Oh, just ridiculous.
Yeah, he kind of scouted that out a few times, right, as well. Like, obviously, when we saw that perfect parry was against that stand median kick after his own stand median kick.
Yes.
So he was definitely knew it was a factor.
Yeah, and it had built to that point too, right? This is like the last round of the match, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe Dual Kevin gets the round here, but last game, and it was definitely one of those things that built up to a moment where Big Bird was like, all right, I know now. And then, yeah, so they do go to a last round. Do you have any more timestamps? I just have one more left in this game, really.
I have one at 42:10, and it's just like highlighting Marissa damage. I mean, we've talked about it a bit already, but it'd be back. It'd be before that super.
Okay, before the super.
So, what is it? I think it's one hit. Yeah, anti-air Gladius into level 3, and it's yeah.
Oh, I remember that.
I always forget. I mean, of course, it was a really sick confirm from Big Bird. But this does way too much.
Yeah. So I have this down too. I was like, beautiful AA from Big Bird, and then look at the drive gauge assassination after this. You got a bar in a third? No, you don't, bro. Look at this. Just knee.
That was true string, by the way.
Yeah, knee, drive rush cancel, bag fears, Gladius, all true string. You had a bar and a third of drive gauge, and it is gone because you blocked that first normal. Like,
yep. You had to either reversal or immediately parry, and yeah, obviously Dulkoven just not ready for that drive gauge and assassination, like you said. Not many characters can do that, right? Not that much drive gauge damage, not that true string, but Marissa definitely would be one of those.
A bar and a third from a drive rush cancel block string that involved 3 things, 2 normals and a special. I mean, like, you're just like,
Yikes.
what? Yeah, so really, really clean stuff from Dual Kevin and Big Bird especially. But like you said, I had a lot of cool stuff from Big Bird or Dual Kevin as well. He just didn't end up winning the set, but I thought overall he did extremely well. And then next up we had NuckleDu and AngryBird here. Go back to the beginning.
Yeah. I thought this would be a great matchup to watch, since AngryBird did write the guide how to beat Guile, and I think immediately we see that punish on the upside down kick, which is something he tried to highlight a lot in that, because it is very minus, and Ken's stand medium kick is incredibly good at punishing these kind of far away negative moves, and I think it's literally the first interaction of the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a pretty strong showing from AngryBird, honestly. Like, he clearly does know the matchup, and he clearly played it really well.
Yeah.
I think like my first timestamp is at 45 minutes. I don't know if you got anything before that.
Yeah, I got this right here. Just the classic. This has been happening since the game has been out. You try to tab parry a projectile and move forward. They drive rush right when the boom is about to get to you. So it freezes for a second. You let go of the parry and you get punish countered. Classic.
That is actually classic. And that's like purposely. Like, that's
that was purposely timed by NuckleDu.
Yeah, he
100%.
does that purposely. Yeah. Guile players, it's something worth learning.
Yeah, it's definitely something that's super slick and like honestly gonna catch so many people off guard. Like, it's super hard to defend against that. Like, it just really is. You kind of have to commit to holding parry, which a lot of the time you don't want to do because you want to tap and move forward. But what was your timestamp?
That 45 minutes. So it was that exact
so it was
where
this right here.
It was the trade. Basically, this was a big thing that AngryBird tried to highlight, was like, hey, if he ever does a low forward, just press stand light kick, because like it will punish, which we saw. I mean, look, I've played Guile for quite a while. I've never had anyone punish my crouch medium kick, and AngryBird did it like 6 times this game.
Yeah.
This is the problem though. When you try and go for that trade, it should technically beat it clean, but even if you're a frame late, right? This is what happens. You get that trade. And,
okay, so I was actually going to ask you about this, because in my notes I have this down as well, and I said, does it trade like that against 5 frames consistently? Is it supposed to beat 5 frame buttons consistently?
So your 5 frame should beat it. So
okay.
If you do it reversal timing, you win. Like, you stop him. That's why it's kind of fake, because for one, you just always press a light kick on reversal timing. And it will punish the low forward, and it will punish the like follow up combo, the twin fang, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
But that's the problem, is like, if you react just a frame late, like, guess what? It's a big trade opportunity, which obviously NuckleDu is fully prepared for.
And that's another big thing in this game, right? Is like committing to reversal button timings to beat certain things, because if you just like decide to react to it, or if you react to it a little bit too late, the timing is just gonna eat you alive, like it does for AngryBird here. But another thing I actually wanted to bring up was this right here in the corner from AngryBird. So, I like to harp on the drive rush into back throw, right? When everybody's in the corner, I feel like everybody tends to drive rush and back throw, or drive rush tick throw to get people back in the corner. Against Ken, this is some bullshit, man, because he has such easy side switches that it's not really a weighted strike throw. It's like kind of a pure 50-50, because when he hits you, he just does Dragon Lash. So it's like, who really cares? You know what I mean? I was just like, that is definitely something that I think Ken has that's cheap. Like, the fact that drive rush out of the corner is not a real weighted 50-50 to a back throw.
That kind of sets up actually like my next point, which is basically at 46 minutes.
Okay.
It's this whole sequence. I basically just put it as this is why like AngryBird is the Evo champ, by the way. But that conditioning right there, he's in burnout, right? It's looking really dire. Okay, he has to do it, right? Boom, level 3, wake up. Okay, amazing. But look, he's got 10 seconds here, or he's got 15 if you count the CA as well. What do you think he's thinking about? He's thinking about, how do I win this game? And it's very easy. He's like, I get in a range, I do look forward, I back throw him. He's not going to be ready because I punished him last time. This is all, like, as soon as he lands that back throw, this is checkmate, basically. You could maybe jump that projectile, but he could easily anti-air you anyway. But like, that's why he's the Evo champ. Like that, this is premeditated. Like, he landed that level 3 and he was like, oh, I can win here. Like, and that's exactly what he does. Like, boom, gets the tick throw. Like, if he techs there, he's safe. But if he doesn't, then yeah, GG's.
Yeah, I have this note down as well. Couple of points I wanted to note. It was literally, so like I make a little note and then I highlight the link with like a little specific like point of text, right? And my text here is you can't test this man AngryBird, especially when you're going to go into burnout if it doesn't work, right? I think that was one of the huge downfalls of this. I respect Du testing AngryBird on the DI. I think AngryBird, more often than not, like a lot more times often than not, he ends up countering it. But you still got to test people. But when you're going to go into burnout as a result, I don't know if testing's worth it, man. So that was what I was a little scared of. And then another point I had was here that I noticed that he didn't actually get the drive gauge back until this crouch medium kick was on block. So like he just like immediately knew,
perfect,
and canceled into it. I was like, this guy. And then I have the OD fireball. As soon as he throws the OD fireball and Du blocks it, it's done, right? Like you can't really get out of it, as you said. Even if you might be able to jump the OD fireball, and I don't know if you can.
As you like, that's the problem. Like, there's nowhere to jump. You jump back, you jump back into it, you jump forward, he's gonna DP you. Like, I mean, I trust AngryBird had the reactions. I guess your best luck is that hope he messes it up, right? But,
pretty much.
You know, you messed up either way.
So to build upon that point, that's what I had here. Oh yeah, I actually have this point too, because we saw AngryBird throw a fireball in reaction to blocking the upside down kick earlier in the rounds. So my man Du was just like, not again, fam.
You're done. Yeah, definitely ready. I think that's the last one he threw. Another point I had was like AngryBird basically throughout the entire set, well, unless it was in a combo, he only ever used heavy Jinrai because he knows it's against Guile, and you know what, like any other than that gets punished. But like we've seen, you know, it's such a simple thing to think about, but we see many Ken players will go up against NuckleDu throughout, and they have just constantly done the Jinrais, right? And it's because, I mean, it's just muscle memory. You just do it, right? But AngryBird's just on that level where he doesn't let that like dictate. Like he's immediately switched his mind into I'm against Guile mode, basically. Yeah,
like a huge thing that separates the champions of fighting games from like that other top percentile of competitive players is, I mean, even beyond that, what separates, I think, the great and competitive level players from that level below of people trying to break into that is how conscious a lot of people are and how little they autopilot, right? Like, and AngryBird, there's no autopiloting in his game, man. You could just tell this man is always methodical, always thinking about what's going to happen. Even when he looks aggressive and active and wild, like there's a reasoning behind everything. And he's never getting caught just in a specific habit, that's what makes him so hard to beat. You're supposed to be able to identify habits and then counter them. When somebody like AngryBird barely shows you any habits, how are you supposed to beat him?
Yeah, you genuinely have to just outplay him at every junction, basically. We talked about a lot about RPSs and stuff, but like when someone's so aware like that, you don't like there's no way to condition them either, like because they're already so aware that you're going to try the next thing on the rotation. So it does make it feel very impossible, but like, hey, you know, that's why he is like the Evo champ, right? So you can't feel too bad. Like it's a level that not many people are on, and it's not easy to get on either. Like you have to be a pretty, not even just like a great player, you have to be like a great like sportsman, you know, to have that mental awareness. Is the best way to put it.
Legit. No, I think you put it perfectly. Oh yeah, this is the moment where he was able to go through that. That's the upside down kick. I think I have here a moment. Or do you have another timestamp that you want to look at?
Mine is until like 9:40.
Okay. So I think I have another one here. I think this is a low crush that I really liked, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that was just super sick. Nothing really much to analyze about it. Just a moment that I thought was worthy of highlighting because I always like seeing moves get low crushed, especially in Street Fighter. So it was perfect usage from Sobot.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the best uses for it, especially with all these crouch medium kicks running rampant. And you can see there was that crouching confirm that I think we saw last week. That not crouching, and counter hit confirm. Which, you know, luckily Du was in range for. I'm sure AngryBird was buffering behind it.
yeah. He usually is. And then the next one I had up, you said like 49 for yours. So let me see what's the next timestamp I have. This was the side switch. I didn't really like him moving forward after the side switch on this SA1. I forgot I had that note down. So he does the side switch, moves forward a little bit. Like he starts throwing the fireballs, but then I can't remember. I feel like he ends up going in. Yeah, I didn't really like the go in here. I would have liked him to just sit back on the other side of the screen.
Yeah, at this point he's got the life lead, so he shouldn't feel the need to go in.
Yeah, and then like later on in this round, I think he uses like drive reversal and it ends up burning himself out. And I didn't like that either. Was it here? Yeah. Like, he gets the successful drive reversal, but you just have so little life to play with. And when your opponent's in burnout and you're Guile, I just feel like that's such a prominent spot to be in. But it's tough, you know, especially against AngryBird. You just want the dude off you because he's so good at opening you up that a lot of the time he forces out situations like that or forces you to use these mechanics that normally when you're more comfortable, you don't resort to.
Drive reversal, I think you have to have already thought about what you're going to do next, though. If you know you're going to be in burnout, like there, he could have done a lot. Like, you know, there was no invincible reversal on the table for AngryBird right there. I don't think he had the meter. Yeah, no, he didn't. So you could easily look at doing, all right, let me just do like stand medium punch into level 2 activation. Now I've got level 2 going. Now I've got so much pressure, and you could definitely win off the back of that, especially while there's no level 1, while there's literally no reversal. You got to do a few right guesses. But like that's something you gotta be thinking about basically if you're gonna make that decision to burn yourself out.
Yeah, and like
I mean, it was probably the best chance at winning in that position because obviously if you don't drive reversal, you gotta take a mix up with so little health.
Yeah,
but
true. And the thing is, yeah, like you said, he had level 2, right? So it definitely could have turned around, but I just think it was that uncomfortability, and he just kind of used that as a moment of like to get off me rather than like something to set up his win condition, right? Which he could have.
That boom he did was plus, so he could have just done another crouch light punch into another boom, and then set up for that level 2.
Yeah.
Because I think boom's like -3 at worst, so here it would be at least be +1. But I don't know what he was afraid of. Not sure.
Yeah, it really just felt like AngryBird was making him uncomfortable, and he was kind of not in his usual zone, right? Where we could have expected him to go into like a full sequence where I was like, oh, okay, this is where dude's gonna take the dub back. And I feel like part of that is the aura of AngryBird being an Evo champion, right? Like a lot of the time, I think he doesn't buckle under pressure. He's not one that I remember ever really getting uncomfortable or having these moments where he ends up cracking. Right there, it looked like one of those moments that I feels like it's just because of AngryBird's aura more than anything else, honestly.
+1, your opponent literally can't do anything about it, but he still hesitated. Just it's like the man he was staring him down.
Yeah, like he's that dude. What was this? I was just like, I have this note as AngryBird is just, he's so good at unorthodox shit. Like, I don't know, like how else to put it. He just uses things that were in places you wouldn't expect them to be used. Here he gets hit by stand heavy kick, and it's just like, I'm gonna let the drive impact rip.
Yeah, he's mashing DI on a hit. Like that is literally like a silver strategy, but like. And it's coming from the and he's playing like so solid. It's literally the last thing you expect. But that's again something that he's so cognizant of. Is like, well, I haven't done this in a while. Let me just do it. Like, and it is in a great spot to do it. You just got hit. Your opponent, Gar's gonna like to do his like back fierce there in that position into a boom auto buffer. Of course, I mean it's a charged motion, so it's not like you can buffer it and hit confirm it or anything like that. You just have to send it.
Yeah, it's one of those things, right, where it really feels like being able to find when the opponent's going to two-piece and stuff like that is a huge part of successful DIing, in my opinion. But so that was that note I had. And then another note I had was just lots of clean punishes on crouch medium kick from AngryBird. Oh, there it is right there. That was actually, I think, the timestamp I was getting to next. And this happened so many times throughout the match, right? Like you said, that's why Du started showing the target combo, because it was like, bruh, like I'm actually getting punished for my crouch medium kick.
Yeah, that's again, like I've never been punished for my crouch medium kick a single time, and I mean AngryBird did it so many times. And then this was my point basically. Like at 49-20, I think we'll just go back a second. But like this is kind of how you beat him, right? You kind of have to wait for Gal to approach you in a way, because he's gonna have to basically. If he doesn't have the live feed, he has to come at you. And there are certain ways to make the boom and into the drive rush definitely your turn and plus, and especially if you can set up a Sonic Blade. But like a lot of the times that if the Gal player wants to get any sort of advantage, they have to overextend, and that's what AngryBird was waiting for. He's like, all right, I'll let you come to me, and I'll know when to punish. And yeah, that drive rush was a bit too short. So
I put the camera back on us for a second because you just reminded me of something I wanted to talk about that's not exactly related to SFL Week 10, and we'll keep it brief. It was AngryBird at Fav Cup, or FAV Cup, however you pronounce it. And you bringing up how this is how you beat Guile. You kind of just walk back and make Guile come to you. That's exactly what AngryBird did against all the Chun-Li players. Like watching him up against Sako, up against Moke, it was like literally like start of the round, I'm walking back. He's like, I know if I go to you, your normals reach me before I reach you. So he just constantly walked back. He's like, you throw a fireball, I'll throw a fireball, I'll perfect parry it, I'll nullify the fireball and keep making you come to me. And he's like, and we already talked about how powerful Ken in the corner is, right? With his back to the corner, he can easily, as long as you walk into that range, now he's going to do crouch medium kick, drive rush cancel, and you have to 50-50 strike throw. And it's either, and both of them are going to lead to side switch, and now he has the ground advantage. It was so smart.
Yeah, I think Chun-Li is like just one of the best defensive characters in the game. So like super hard to approach. I mean, she's definitely scary to leave like unattended because of, you know, Kikoku into drive rush. But you know, like you were saying, you know, if he sees that, he's just gonna fireball back. If he sees like an OD1, he will OD back. And like I said, that's just like how you beat this kind of play style because I mean, it is hard to approach in this game. Yeah, drive rush is good. But your moves are negative, so like most of the time. So like it's hard to like get into a space where you can confidently walk up and take your turn, where it's really easy to check someone approaching you if you're ready. Obviously, there's drive rush is hard to stop, you know, at some ranges and on some characters especially. But like Chun-Li and Reynald are not one of them. You know, they got relatively slow drive rushes.
Yeah. So it's just something I wanted to talk about because you completely reminded me of that right now with highlighting how AngryBird was like, I'm going to walk back. Even with doing the corner, right? He's like, I'm going to walk back because this is where my character actually beats yours by doing this. So definitely I love the way AngryBird highlights the way Ken is supposed to, or the way Ken is more effective against characters, even when you're like, and he can't play a traditional game.
And this is exclusive to Street Fighter 6 because there's no chip damage. Like, it seems stupid to not go on the offense against Guile like in any other game because you're going to get chipped down slowly by these booms.
True.
In this game, if he doesn't approach, he can't take advantage of his fireballs. Like, they just don't do enough damage. Like, they don't do enough drive gauge damage, I should say. That if as long as you're parrying and managing your drive gauge correctly, there's just no way you get burnt out by just booms. That's why he has Sonic Blade in his kit now, is so that he can get something out of the spacing he's created through the booms. Against especially some characters, but you know, against a player like AngryBird, he's not going to give you that much space.
Yeah, exactly. It's just tough, but yeah, love the way AngryBird played this set. The only last thing I have here, let me see, or do you have another timestamp that's going to come up before?
No, I'm good.
Okay. So this is really the only last one I have, and it just kind of goes back to AngryBird's timings and his unorthodox like approaches and whatnot. I just feel like his timings are always so clean. Like right there, it just feels like one of those timings of the DI where it's the exact moment Du is kind of caught in between decisions, and he just always seems to find that moment to me. Like, I don't know what he's on, but the way he like attacks at that moment of indecision on his opponent, I just think he hones in on that better than anybody playing Street Fighter 6 right now.
Yep, and it's especially effective against Guile, who's is charged super input. So if he doesn't have any other way of getting out of that situation, obviously he could DI back there. I don't know if he had enough life actually, but like if you make him hesitate and he loses his charge, then you get a guaranteed stun. Basically, that's just kind of, you know, especially an effective strategy. But yeah, like there he just did like crouch medium kick into jab into, you know, do nothing and then DI.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
No one's ready for that.
Exactly. Like I even have like in my notes, I'm like, maybe he even creates this moment of hesitation with the way he like walks back and just stares at you. Like I don't know, man. He is a master manipulator for sure. It's a joy to watch, honestly.
Well, I think like when you see someone walk back like that, the last thing you can do is like parry, right?
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
Whereas if you see them throw like a button or something like that out, or like a plus button, so they drive rush to the button, you might parry then. But when you see them start to walk back, you're like, oh, like they're trying to shimmy, and then obviously they come back at you with the DI, and you're not ready.
So next up we had Zhen versus Punk, and man, Zhen, this dude, I call him the master of disrespect. This was one of the most disrespectful sets I've ever seen. He, I think, pressed every single time he was minus. It felt like it hit every single time, and it was just one of those things, right? I think Punk, though he can be susceptible to stuff like this, where he's like, bro, you're really just gonna press every time at minus, and I mean, Zhen is gonna do it.
First time definitely tilted him. because he was like, oh, you know, DJ player, look, he's on minus frames. He's gonna wait for. Oh, he's jabbing. Like I'm already got a hit. Like what's going on, man? Yeah, that was literally my first thing. Is like he's already playing like the Just Cool mind games like several layers ahead. Yes. And that's the way it was the entire set. Like it's. I mean, this is what I was alluding to, and it was like, well, you know, there weren't many blowouts, and this was a blowout set, and it was like there was nothing really that Zhen was doing outside of just playing the RPS game way better. Yeah, like literally, he was right every single time. Like
this man avalanched him.
When you're right, you take 40%. Like crazy.
Like legit, Zhen, he was like, I'm gonna avalanche this man, and Punk just kept playing scissors. Like he was like, he can't throw rock again, right? And he just kept doing it, you know.
He's literally got to do something different finally, and then no. I mean, yeah, it was just so. I felt like Punk just never got into rhythm, and I at least for sure would have been tilted. Like I mean, I don't love Punk, you know, I would have been mad tilted.
Yeah, like I can't even blame Punk. Like this is definitely a very tilting set to be on the receiving end of if you're against the DJ player here in this case. And yeah, it was just a lot of disrespect pressing after Funky Slicer, which is -3 as Punk's trying to walk up. There was a lot of clean Sway doing a lot of work, obviously, just doing the jabs into Sway or any type of minus button into Sway, always doing a lot of work.
Empty jump into Sway as well. That was even more frustrating. Like empty jumping, like as Cammy dealing with empty jumping is really annoying because your DP like doesn't work how you want it to. Yeah. And you don't have like a heavy kick or anything like that that reaches that weird range. You obviously go back medium punch is only directly above your head. You know, you really can't stop these neutral jumps as easily, and they're stopping you from doing like heavy knuckle, you know, drive rush, all that stuff. And then so you're trying to find some way to get some leverage on this neutral jump. And then he's just like, I'm going to empty jump into Just Cool and blow up Euro trying to lock me down. Like, oh my gosh.
Dude, like, this is what there's so many cool, like, interactions in this game where, like, it just keeps evolving. Like, neutral jumps, jumping has a couple of different, like, decisions that I've been thinking about lately. Because I've been seeing a lot more of, I think it was, like, in Japan CPT or maybe it was FAV Cup. But there was a couple of times where people would try to jump back, and then they would do, I think it was the Kens. It might have been CPT. I think it was Fab Cup. But they would jump back, and then they would do really late roundhouse, right? Trying to catch people chasing them down to try to get them to block something when they land, right? So they start doing, like, little really late roundhouse. There was a sick, I forgot what it was. But I think it was a DJ player that I was seeing that like ended up doing like drive rush stand fierce, and the way his like hurt box manipulated it like was able to not get hit by the late jump heavy kick from Ken on the jump back and actually like punish counter him on landing. And like there's just so many different things like that. And then you see stuff like that, and then people will they'll empty jump back, and then they'll do DI as soon as they land because they know people are coming for them and trying to commit to something. So I'm just like, the way this game is evolving, it's really fascinating to me.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, it's a testament that this kind of play style, like even the best in the world, it can get to them. You know, Punk's easily like he's probably the highest win rate in SFL right now.
Yeah, for sure.
And he just got blown out, but what some might say is, you know, a random ass player at this point. Obviously, it's Zhen, but like, you know, he's playing random. Like he's abusing that fact, and he's just playing super aggressive, and clearly has no regard for like risk reward to some extent. But that's because he knows his character, and he knows like, kind of there is actually a pretty good risk reward, especially in the matchup where you know Cammy's like gonna struggle to get much damage. Obviously she gets her offense going, but she's not gonna punish you in a big way, unlike, you know, other characters.
Yeah, and you know, I like to call DJ an anti-meta character. I feel like he's really good at kind of countering a lot of what most characters want to do in this game. But even beyond that, Punk, he knows the meta, right? He is a meta developer. I credit him with creating a lot of how Street Fighter V high level came to be played.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he is one of those that has his finger on the pulse when it comes to the meta. He knows all the optimal decisions before most people do. So when you're able to take that and turn it on its head and play this character that can punish him for making all those normally great decisions, you get what happened in this set.
I mean, even just then, right? We saw, you know, 3 jabs come out from Zhen, the minus. Hey, I'm gonna pick my crouch medium kick at 7 frames. You know, I'm Ken, and the Just Cool comes in. Like, it's just like, this is how this should work. This should be my turn. I should be able to drive rush here. Like, it's just a bit forward, unless you're looking for something else. But
no, I was looking for that.
And then it's when he gets crossed up here. It's just like, it should work, but against against
DJ
DJ,
is
you have to
different.
think differently. And I think that, for me, this is where the difference might come in from someone like AngryBird, who would be able to adjust and stuff like that, and ready. But yeah, it's just like, and even though it's the first of 3, you think you got a lot of time to adjust, but you really don't when the matches are going this fast.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, this was such a high-paced, damaging match that you really don't. And literally, so the next video I'm trying to put together for the Twitters and all that is based on taking your turn after light buttons and the kind of meta around like reversal buttons, off blocking light strings. And this is what you're supposed to do, right? Like when the light is blocked at the max range and the next light is gonna whiff, that light can no longer be chained into another light, so it's just gonna be a negative situation, and usually you could take your turn because that next light's gonna whiff and your button's gonna win. So, or they know that their turn is over because that last light was the last one that's going to connect and they're minus now. So this is the thing people do, especially on Ken. Reversal crouch medium kick all day, every day. It's 7 frames. They love to press it. So the anti-meta right here, right? You cancel that last light into sway, gets them completely out of that space, and you get a punish counter reward. Like this DJ is so good at punishing people trying to play Street Fighter 6 at a high level.
Yeah, and I guess you could also take into account your opponent's meter in that sense as well, because like he's gonna burn himself out if he does crouch medium kick into drive mode, which is probably what Punk was gonna do, but because he got so little health, like it probably would have worked. So it's one of those other things you can kind of weigh up on the risk reward side of things. Yeah,
and so that's pretty much the tale of this tape. In the last 2 rounds, it was pretty much the same thing, right? We had the perfect in this round where he just gets out of the gates and then just guesses right every single time on Punk's wake up. Yeah, the back throw as soon as he lands, and from here it was just all downhill. And the last round as well, Zhen, there was a couple of moments where again I think he did funky slicer, press jabbed afterwards, just counter hit Punk trying to escape, or like it was just like, man, it was one of those games if you're Punk for sure. Yeah, right there, right, the funky slicer.
Counter hit confirms as well, bro. He knew he was interrupted.
Yeah.
I know you're gonna try. That's the worst part. It's like he's not just mashing. He's mashing with intention.
Yeah.
Oh, and this is too crazy. I mean, that's another strength, right? The OD fireball gonna be able to link into this much damage. Like, yeesh, looking like JP.
Yeah, the OD fireball trades, or not even the OD fireball trades, but when the OD fireball hits for DJ, goodbye to the life bar, fam. And next up is VxBao and Nephew, which, I didn't have too many notes for this one. Best of 1, you know how it goes. And I didn't really see a lot that I felt like was particularly of note that I needed to elaborate on. It was just a lot of good decisions by Nephew. And VxBao, he did his best, but I'm pretty sure Nephew wins this, right?
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm thinking. I'm pretty sure.
I know, right? The way VxBao opens it up. But I'm pretty sure Nephew wins.
Yeah. I think, I literally had like 1 point. It was just like kind of later on. There's just like a funny little mind game moment, which is like, it's one of those where it's like an instant adaptation, which is what makes it a little bit funny. So it's like at like 10105, I think it was. So I think it's in the next rounds. But it's just like, I do this thing. Oh, it didn't work. I hear the drive rush. Like, okay, I'll go in. And then I do this time. You're drive rushing, so I'm ready. Like,
yeah.
VxBao's like, okay, no, I'm taking my turn. And then Nephew's like, no, you're not.
Yeah, that was actually sick. I like that. But yeah, I had like a timestamp that was like in the first round, but it was nothing special. I don't really feel like going back to it. The only note I really had here was lots of great patience from Nephew with good anti-airs. I thought his anti-airs were on point. I thought he didn't really give VxBao like anything that VxBao didn't earn, which is huge in the JP matchup, right? You really got to make JP earn as much as you can. You can't just be getting hit by random projectiles. Even blocking them, it'll do damage to your drive gauge. So he just stayed on point with parrying as much as he could, anti-airing whenever JP jumped. Just overall solid play from Neff. And then next one
I mean, obviously first to 1, so
yeah,
I'm sure if games had gone longer, it would have got a little bit more interesting, but
yeah, first to 1, you know how it be. This said, I had PR Balrog and ChrisCCH. This is, of course, Red Rooster versus Endemic here. And this one, like you said, there wasn't a whole lot of notes to take because of like it just really came down to a lot of decision making. I'd say the only note I had in the first round here was towards the end. Like I said before, I think it was a pretty sick DP from ChrisCCH here through the block string. Yeah, he knew that the block string was coming to the point where Rog was going to be able to stay safe, right? He was going to do a lot of damage to his drive gauge. So before he even let that happen, he just DP'd through the string. I thought that was clean.
Yeah, I quite like that. I think my first time point was a little bit earlier, so it's like a 1:22. And this is just kind of like, I kind of rag on Jury. I think that she's not that good, but this is something she's very good at, and that is like in these shimmy situations. A lot of these shooters, obviously, they generally throw out their buttons. So like classic in this position, Ken will press a stand fierce after walking back. And against most characters, you recover in time to be able to cross cut.
Yeah.
Jury's jump fierce is a demonic button. If you ever played against a Jury who uses this button, oh my god, it is annoying because that probably crossed you up as well. So if you weren't blocking, like, like it's just like this is how you get out of the corner as this character so easily. Because also, even if they're ready, even if they're waiting for the anti-air, like you're probably not anti-airing this like normally.
Yeah.
You need to like do something special because if she finds that angle, which when she's jumping out the corner,
but you're fading away. Okay, you're back. You're back.
Exactly. Oh,
your voice
she finds that range.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I thought we were talking about Ken. I was like, yeah, he's fading away. But yeah, like it's really frustrating to deal with, and I think that timing specifically, you know, that when they're shimmying, when they're walking back, it's like almost free.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. We've talked about this like over the course of our breakdowns, kind of like this timing that people have on the walk back button, right? Yeah. And it's one of those where it's like if you do your jump immediately, sometimes you can kind of catch them recovering from that first normal. But if you don't, you kind of react a lot of the time. They're able to recover in time and then DP you or anti-air you or whatever have you, right? Yeah. But yeah, with Jury, this just goes too far down, hits too quick. And like you said, it's tough to anti-air even if you weren't committing to a button. Like if you want the crosscut, like we see Ken players complain all the time about their crosscuts going the wrong way or not coming out right. I think the most consistent way to fix that is to walk forward and then do your DP right. This, you're not even going to really be able to do that. Like a lot of these things that you're going to be able to do to fix that, not going to work here.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's definitely it's my least favorite jump buttons to play against, but I think it's one of the most interesting because it's a pretty big trade-off because like she doesn't actually have like a good jump in otherwise.
True.
Like they're kind of all mediocre.
Yeah.
Because that one, obviously, if you're jumping from a range, like it won't hit. Her jump heavy kick is like okay, but it's not that great compared to like the demonic thing that's like Ken jump fierce and Luke jump fierce and things like that. Like those are different,
And the only other note I really had here was around 125-28. Do you have anything that you want to kind of go over?
Probably not. I mean, I think coming up, if we just keep watching, we see, I think what I imagine is a super reaction for PR Balrog because he has been so good on those.
Yes.
But I think he's in the middle of a backdash here. So right here, he backdashes, maybe. Oh, maybe it's coming up. There. And I think that's meant to be super, but the first quarter circle gets eaten up by the buffer, which would have been sick.
Yeah.
But, it happens.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. That is the case, though. Oh, snap,
both the same input, so...
Shouts to Hamoud with a huge raid here. Big ups. A lot of party people. This is, if you're unfamiliar with what we're doing right now, I'm here with myself and Lazarus. We're going over SFL Week 10, kind of highlighting the different things that stuck out to us through the different matches. We're about to wrap up PR Balrog versus ChrisCCH. Did you say you had any other notes besides that one?
No, that was my last one.
So, yeah, the only thing I really had here was I think it was like one of the... I don't know if it was to end the set or if it was close. It was just like, I was like, damn, ChrisCCH, this is how you feel. It was like a wake up crouch medium kick. Yeah, wake up crouch medium kick to super. It was obviously off the back though, right? So you can kind of catch people dashing forward and walking close as he did right there. But it always still impresses me when people are willing to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where if you're PR Balrog, you died at the wake up level 3. So you're like, I'm just going to walk back a little bit. And ChrisCCH is like, yeah, I know what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's clean.
You better be crouch blocking if you're going to get into that range. So big ups to Chris. And then the next one we had was Ajax Fidelity versus Reynald. Let me see her. Ajax and Reynald. Oh, I forgot about it, bro. My first note for this match is I can't even take notes on this match because Reynald just keeps looking at Ajax. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what Reynald was doing.
Enough, My first note is JP's so easy, you don't have to look at the screen.
Yeah, like I was like, what are you doing, Reynald? He just kept like looking over. He's laughing. Look at his face. Yeah, like the laugh into the stare down on the perfect parry. I was like, you're kidding me, bro.
You ready for this one, bro? I'm not even gonna look when I do. I think there's literally a point where he does a combo without looking. Like,
I'm pretty sure you're correct. I couldn't believe it. And Reynald do be getting in these moods, but I don't know why he decided to do it to Ajax.
Yeah, right there, right? He's doing the drive rush combo without looking at him.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
I'm just like, yo, what in the world is going on here?
Yeah, he was hella trolling.
It
was fun to see. I don't know why. I don't know if these like the. I guess these are the two teams at the bottom of the table, right? So
I guess.
I don't know how it works for playoffs. I think Red Rooster still had a chance to qualify. I can't remember how exactly it works, but I think maybe this one like was like the seeding would have mattered, but
yeah,
I can't quite remember.
Maybe it was one of those, but for whatever
it's just
reason,
Reynald because he does this. He
do.
He's
be
like
doing that. One of my favorite tweets of all time is still the Kill Sage at the Tournament of Power, the Beyond the Summit tournament, saying Reynald keeps summoning Shenron on me with the angry face. So this is just what he does as a player. This I did have a note down as pretty dope though. I thought Reynald kind of from full screen, he's like, I'm just gonna walk away. Sees the drive rush and starts walking back as soon as he sees it, and it looks like it makes just that much of a difference, just like barely enough of a difference for it to actually whiff. And it doesn't look like he actually walks back until he sees the drive rush. Because right there he walks forward, and then the drive rush comes, and look, this just literally one step back is enough.
Yeah, that's drive rush forward medium punch, which like that is like full screen normal for as far as I'm concerned, bro. There is nothing you can do. Like they can't whiff punish that. But I guess he can.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, that was something for sure.
Yeah, I think my next point is like coming up, and it's just I hate this character. But it's more like Reynald specifically, but it's just the way he plays. You know, I think it's how he ends this round.
Oh yeah. Oh, the ghost dash of OD. I hate him. I hate the way he nods after.
I'd be like, oh, like, this is how that made me so mad. It's unbelievable.
The way he nods, bro. Like, yeah, I'm that good. Like, I hate you, bro.
I'm that guy.
Yeah. Oh, man. Reynald cracks me up, though. Definitely a character, to say the least. I had a couple of small notes. There was a moment where JP threw out crouch medium kick, Ajax blocked it, and he went up and walked up and threw him. I always like seeing people willing to kind of represent that option up against blocking crouch medium kick against JP, because I feel like JP is such like a post crouch medium kick is such a powerful thing in JP matchups for both sides. Like I think that determines a lot of the hits in the match sometimes. So because of that, I just like seeing that option represented. But yeah.
Yeah, I think you do have to like kind of mix it up, of course. Just because, again, we talked about it earlier, but like the minus frames into the mind games, especially from the range that you're playing at, is really important to like this game, and being able to play that kind of RPS is really important. So you got to know all your options, and walking up and throwing is probably one of your better ones.
Mm-hmm. And this, I just thought this was an impressive. Let me know if you have a timestamp before this.
I've got 30 seconds before. Okay. It's only a little thing, but it's something I realized. He's in burnout, and he's no, he's not in burnout yet. I think Ajax gets like punch count thrown here. Yeah, back in the corner, and he's holding parry here. And look how little this gives him back.
Yeah.
Like, oh, look at that. Like honestly, that is one of the worst things about playing against his characters. The parrying that spike feels like almost necessary sometimes. Especially imagine when you're this low, and look how little you get back.
Man's got nothing.
There is so much risk to parrying here because he can punish counter throw you. So honestly, they can nerf JP in many ways. One of the things I'd like to see change is like possibly, can we get some more meter back for that, man? Come on. Like I don't want to be in burnout. And also if I choose to parry that, I get risk like teleported on and punish counter thrown. So
exactly.
I should be rewarded for guessing right. And that's not a reward, man. That is nothing.
Yeah, 100%. And the only thing that I was thinking about, I was like, yeah, what can you do better from Ajax's side, right? I was like, well, the departure windows, the spike always comes out on the closer window first, right? I believe. So it's like, you know that the spike isn't coming out yet, but look, he parries in reaction to the ground spike, right? And the ground spike just doesn't hit him. So
Yeah,
he honestly did everything he could right.
I mean, he put the spike in the only place he needed to. Like, if he walked up, which was the only way to really avoid not being put into burnout, he would have walked into the spike. So, yeah, just for smart stuff from Reynald, honestly.
Yeah, very good spacing. Ajax tried to play around it, but it just creates too many problems. Honestly, so my take right now for JP's moves, I know everybody loves, not everybody loves, but everybody hates Amnesia, and they're like, OD Amnesia is the best move in the game. I think it's his third best move. I think Departure.
Right. It's the most frustrating move, I think, but
yeah, I think it could be the most frustrating move. I think Departure and Super R2 are better than Amnesia. Okay. Personally, I think Departure is such a space controller. While as soon as you get it out, you're just free to act. Like it requires no commitment from you once it's actually out. And I just think it creates so much that the opponent has to consider and play around that you don't have to do. I just think it's wild how much it presents, how many problems it presents to the opponent while JB gets to move around freely.
It's because he can do too much with it. He can genuinely do way too much with this move. He can obviously teleport to it. He can choose what side he teleports from. He can activate the spike early. He can just let the spike rock. You know, he can do nothing. He can just wait for it. He can approach you while it's up. The only way to get rid of it is if you push it off the screen or you hit him. If he's blocking, it doesn't go away, which definitely should be changed, by the way. That's a DNF ass mechanic right there. So, like, it is. I think you're right. I think that is definitely one of his, like, sleeper moves. Especially, you spend 2 bars, he clicks his fingers, and then no more neutral. Like,
exactly.
Two portals are up. Like, good luck. You got to hold down back. Like, he spent 2 bars. That's balanced, like, apparently.
Yeah, no more, as you said, 2 bars, no more neutral. Like, come on. Like, how is that not the best move to me? But yeah, that's how I feel about it. And then Super R2, unblockables, all kinds of dumb stuff with Super R2. We don't really need to
that can be fixed without changing the actual super itself. Like, you'd have to maybe change something with parry or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's definitely ways of making that super low. Maybe just make the startup a little bit longer so he can't just set it up so easily. That'd be my best guess. So maybe you got more of a chance at interrupting it, because right now it's really hard to interrupt, which is still possible, but
the wag of the finger bro.
You thought
the Matumbo, bro. I really love this anti-air from Ajax, like the jump up into the dive kick to beat the crouch fierce. Yeah, especially with such little life left. Like, that was a great way to defeat him there. And it actually got him to the point where he was able to get his drive gauge back. Reynald burns himself out right there. It was looking for a second that he was going to turn this around. That's why Reynald gave him the wag of the finger. No overheads here, fam.
Damn. I wonder if he was reacting to that. He possibly could have.
Possibly, for sure.
Because, I mean, they are reactable if you're ready. So you just choose to mash at the right time. Well, obviously, he was only 1 hit away, so he could have just been mashing anyway.
And then I love this too. I think this is such a powerful option that JP has. Is like you see the projectile, you parry the projectile, even if it's not perfect, you just do OD Amnesia after. Then it kind of nullifies the opponent going for a strike throw mix up. But I will give Ajax his props here, because I believe this same situation comes up later in the round and he baits out the OD Amnesia, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see here. Yeah, fireball. Yeah, and then he just waits for it.
Yeah, I think
big fan of that.
Yeah, Amnesia is obviously a very powerful tool, but it is like it's also a trade-off, you know.
Yeah.
Like, if he had a regular reversal, it probably wouldn't be as good.
Yes.
But he'd also have a regular reversal, so he'd play way differently, which is kind of the scary thing. Like, he would actually be able to blow up like drive rush cancels and things like that, like other characters can with their reversals. Like, obviously, in the corner, you're going to get huge rewards, but which makes it very scary to throw him in a game that you kind of forced to throw in. But, you know, as we saw with like DC, I think it was DCQ last week, just never did OD Amnesia. So maybe some JPs forget about OD Amnesia sometimes. Yeah,
and I think last round we saw this happen from Reynald as well. And I mean, I just love the fact that he does this when he perfect parries people. Stand fierce, drive impact, take away so much of their drive gauge. And like we said, you need as many resources as you can to get around JP, because he does this. He puts up the OD Departure 2 bars. And now it feels like you're going to be stuck at 2 bars or less on your drive gauge for pretty much the entire round.
Yep.
like just constantly chipping away.
I do find it funny that he can't throw his command grab while the portals are up, because that's where they drew the line.
yeah, right.
that would be too much.
That's a good point.
I mean, I think if he had that, he could set up some actual unblockables with it, but like, it is funny that's where they drew the line.
Yeah.
That's just
We can't allow this to happen. These other atrocities, you can get away with those.
Nah.
But yeah, I really love that perfect parry punish. He does it almost every week now. Definitely a big fan of the way he attacks the drive gauge. Oh, okay, I have another moment here. So, do you have a timestamp that you want to get to?
No, I didn't have too many for this set, to be fair.
Oh, okay. This is actually, I think we just saw it. But I think it was one of those moments where it felt like, yeah, Reynald, great knowledge on the dissipating fireball. That's kind of what I wanted to point out. Was that,
yes.
Like, he drive rushes forward, and it, like, you think with this fireball still coming that this drive rush is going to get interrupted, but great knowledge check. The hitbox by then is gone, so the feed just kind of goes through it.
Definitely hard to tell with the Jewish projectile. It does feel like it goes on forever, but it actually has a pretty short range when it comes down to it. Since it moves so slowly, it feels like it's a really long fireball, but it's probably shorter than most, to be fair.
Exactly. It was just one of those things that's visually deceiving, right? Like, a lot of the time you're thinking the fireball's going farther than it is. So I'm just always impressed when someone can kind of know that their eyes are lying to them, and be like, all right, this is.
Like, they know the range despite there being like almost no visual aid to it.
Precisely. And then, I mean, Reynald was just cheeky this whole set, man. Like, he gets level 3, he's like, I'm just going to wake up with crouch medium punch as soon as I see you walk away. Just regular hit, too. I don't know what happened. I don't know if Ajax was trying to jump at that moment or what, but definitely cheeky stuff from Reynald, but enough to pull out the W.
Demic on a bit of a roll, too, as well. I think on the next set with Banana Ken versus Samurai started off with like a pretty big 2-0 lead as well. So that was really exciting.
Yeah, this match, this was one that I thought I was going to wrap up quick, and then I had a crazy amount of notes. Like a lot of mistakes and whatnot. Oh, do you have your first timestamp? I got too many. We're not going to go through all the timestamps.
Okay. I didn't have that many, to be fair. Like, there was not that many specific moments for me.
Okay.
I think my first one was just the optimal stun combo. I think we saw it was like 136-10, which is just like, this character's nutty sometimes, man. Like, it's a really sick combo, and you do have to give the JP players props, because this is a very specific, because he has to do the empty jump whiff stand jump medium kick or something like that to set this up for it to work, and then he builds the level 2 and he uses it in the middle of the combo. So he knew he was going to build the level 2, and then perfect. That was the last hit. It was really, really clean.
Yeah, I was just like, bro. I definitely remember seeing that. I was like, Samurai doesn't die here, right? But
yeah,
he definitely does.
Yeah, but it's JP. He's like, JP and stun, like, you're probably dead. The only other person who like does more, I think, is like Aki.
Yeah, exactly. This is one that I'm down to kind of bring up a little bit. So first we have here. Oh, this like the. Oh, okay, I thought it was the same thing. No, it was just Luke drive rushing twice. But I like that people do this nowadays too, where they'll let the drive rush rock a little bit longer, try to blow up people's fuzzy timings on defense, right? This was definitely like an extended drive rush cancel into the crouch medium punch to catch. And then to follow it up, I just like this cross cut because, like, this is what I said earlier, where it feels like to be the most consistent with cross cut DPs, you have to move forward before the DP. And we can see him kind of move forward right there. Just for a few frames, but it feels like that actually does make a world of difference with the consistency.
Yeah, for sure. In this game specifically, I don't know what they changed about the crosscut input, if at all, but it does feel much harder in that sense. That you kind of forced to walk forward.
Oh, was this?
I think it's just the jump ins are bigger, I want to say. So it's harder to like be under the person and then change your like input to be back. So you have to like walk under them first. I think that might be it.
Yeah, I forgot the way he gets into the stun combo too. I actually have it noted down. Was that I thought it was very interesting because he does like stand fierce, cancel spike here, and then he does stand fierce and just lets it rock and then does DI.
Yeah, that is so weird. I actually really like that.
Me too.
Because there's no reason to cancel it there, really, other than guaranteeing that he's forced to block it.
Yeah.
But like, if he's going to reversal, and you don't send it out, you're gonna get screen flash. You're gonna be able to stop.
Yes.
If there's no screen flash, you just send the DI, and then he's still not ready. So
yeah,
actually, I really like that.
Yeah, I really like this because pretty much for what you said, people are also just used to like reversaling with super off of cancels, right? I don't know what it is. Exactly. I just think that's kind of the way we trained ourselves. It feels a little bit easier to react to because everybody is just looking for the cancel more so than anything else.
Buffer it here because you're already blocking.
Exactly, right? Like it gives you a clear moment to buffer. So when he lets that rock, like the buffer got to be over here, right? He's like, oh, well, I guess he didn't do the DI, and then he does it after. Like, I just was like, yeah, as you mentioned, there was really no reason not to do it like that there. So I was a real big fan of BananaKen getting into the stun combo like that.
I mentioned it. I'm thinking about it. I think pretty much every DI we've seen hit was off like a raw, like just raw.
Yes.
Either that or like just it was guaranteed. And funny enough, well, my next point, one of my next points is actually where BananaKen does do a cancel and Samurai is ready with the level 3. So that happens a bit later on. I think it's like 140-50 if you have anything before then.
140-50. Let me see if there's anything.
Actually, I got something before that as well. Mine's at 138-50.
138-50. Let's go to that. Wow.
Yeah, I think it's just how BananaKen deals with DI like in Burnout here. I mean, it's one of the simple things. Like there, I think he wanted to he had to like that jump back again. But here, I feel like the spike hit as well. If he pressed the button, he would have been able to. That spike would have broke the armor, which would have been really sick to see.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that would have been the third hit.
Yeah, he might have reacted a little bit late, but I feel like he wanted to. You know, like I could just look at it. I could be like, yeah, he was setting up for that. But then, because he was so ready for the second one as well.
And then, let me see. That was then... I feel like I have something down here that I kind of want to bring up. I'm not entirely understanding my note, but I have like a... Oh, yeah. Okay, so what I liked about here is I'm not exactly 100% sure this is how it worked out, but to me, this looked like a moment where... Since BananaKen, he has the departure window out up here, right? The spike's going to be coming. And Samurai is like, I know that. So he goes to drive rush forward. But because BananaKen dashes forward, the drive rush feels like he doesn't get taken as far forward, right? He runs into the JP. He presses his button. He presses the forward advancing normal, too, with that stand medium punch. But it feels like he doesn't go as far as he normally would because of that dash forward block. And it feels like that's what keeps him in range of the spike. He might have been in range of the spike even without that dash forward, but I feel like that was the intention of BananaKen there.
I think it's more that the spike stays on screen. So like here, he moves into the screen, so the camera doesn't move nearly as much. Yeah. Whereas if he stayed where he was, the camera would have got pulled, and that spike would not be on the screen. So whether it's intentional or not is really sick of like awareness from BananaKen. Yeah. Like I said, if you're in the middle of the screen, obviously you see that camera doesn't really move. On the left side of the screen, like, yeah, it definitely would have fallen off the screen.
It definitely feels like that, right? So, like, whether, it looked like the dash to keep the departure in range, whether it be on the screen, whether it be to actually hit the spike, right? That dash forward, to me, was definitely intentional. Like, he was trying to keep that departure spike on the screen no matter what. So,
yeah. I feel
really
like when you see people dash in this game now, it has to be intentional because no one dashes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So they gotta be doing it for a reason.
Yeah, super sick. Cause like you said, like the departure window, like look how far the camera is away, like at this point, right? And then like as soon as the dash in, like it just feels like it's so much more close. So I really like the way he kind of is so good at manipulating the screen with JP. And like BananaKen is honestly on a very high level with the character.
Well, and I think some people started to adopt it as well.
Wait, what happened?
A little bit on the. I said he's definitely one of the crazier JPs.
Yeah,
but I feel like people are starting to adapt that kind of play style where, you can play quite solid with this character, but you can also kind of be really aggressive and just use all the toolkits as long as you've labbed them well enough, like using the level 2 and things like that. Like you can really abuse them to even take really good games off of the best players in the world.
And then we see a couple of classic like JP things too, like After the opponent parries Ghost, like he waits for the drive rush. Like I don't even know if this was. I just saw like at my peripheral. This was, okay, yeah. He actually hit earlier with this. I have it down as a timestamp, but I didn't want to bring it up. But yeah, Samurai was like trying to drive rush, like fireball drive rush, like he was playing like Ken or Chun-Li or something. Like he was just like sandblast in a drive rush. To be fair, I feel like I've been seeing more looks do that, and it's been working out a little bit. But yeah, that time it did not.
Yeah, and that was, you know, what I was saying about that's kind of the weakness of that. The fireball from Luke is you can't really do that, especially not against JP with that crouch medium punch, of course.
Let me see. I like this.
Next time is
what?
Okay.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead. Tell me.
Mine's at 140.50. So
140. Okay, I have one that's a little after that, so that's perfect.
Okay. And this is just like the clean drive reversal, or like the level 3 reversal here, like perfectly, like you have a tiny pixel of drive gauge left, and like we said, it was on that cancel, right? Definitely Banana kind of overextending that time. It's weird because he was obviously so careful before, but I think it's because he's not in burnout yet, but he's going to be in burnout, so that's why you're not really thinking about it quite yet, the reversal super or anything. But Samurai was just like, he was like that one step ahead, he was ready for it.
Yeah, exactly. I was a big fan of Samurai just being like, all right, it's now or never, and he was able to get the level 3 out, right? And Bananakin,
if you get put in a burnout there, it's almost as good as done, you know?
Yeah, straight up. And Bananakin, like, if you're Bananakin, you got to go for it, you know what I mean? Like, it's going to be, like you said, pretty much a checkmate if he gets in a burnout. So he put the onus on his opponent. Samurai rose to the occasion, responded in time. I love this dash under after this air-to-air, by the way. Like, bam.
I was like, am I playing Street Fighter 5 again, man?
Yeah. I was a real big fan of that one. Let me see. I have, and then the other one that I had was, a little bit after this here, around 140, 155. Let's see. It was, I believe, so Samurai, something Samurai loves to do is, it goes back to the neutral jumps that you talked about before. Is that he likes punishing people on landing, whether it be with like a sandblast and SA1, like he's really good at buffering SA1s when he jumps as well, and tries to catch people like trying to punish him when he lands. So he's definitely like of the mind about punishing people from neutral jumping and like that. So right here, this time he does a neutral jump. I don't even think he did anything in the air. He probably did the jump medium punch.
Jump medium punch, I think.
Yeah, so the late jump medium punch, as soon as he sees it doesn't hit, he just DIs, catches the sandblast. And that to me felt like a player read. Like he knows Samurai is one of those players that really likes to take advantage of when the person lands, and right there he just didn't let him do it.
Also just like a calculated risk, you know, as your opponent's in the corner, so even if they don't do something, you still get a combo. So there was definitely a lot of value in doing it. And obviously we've talked about how hard it is to react to it raw like that. So even if, you know, Samurai didn't press anything, there was not really a great chance he would have reacted.
Yeah.
Right, my next notes are like 142.35. I don't know. Right here. My note is just, it finally happened. What finally happened? Oh, it's this moment right here.
I see it.
Finally. The ghost of Christmas. No, someone jump punish this command grab. I think is the first time I've ever seen someone. They didn't jump back afraid. Samurai stood his ground. He neutral jumped and he got the punish. Oh my god. I'm not like. I've been talking about this for the people who don't know, but there's something like psychological happening with that command grab where everyone just does a back jump every time they see it, like there's like a twitch reaction. It's like, come on, just twitch react to jump neutral, and then you get the punish or forward depending on the range. And Samurai was just like 100% ready. He knew his opponent, right? He knew that's what Bananakin like loves to do, and wasn't afraid of the command grab for some reason.
Yeah, and we can go to this one. I have like maybe a note I want to bring up between this, but this actually relates to the neutral jump that we just saw right before we started talking about the point you brung up. Was like, so yeah, like right, like he does this to Samurai multiple times in this set. So first was the neutral jump into DI when he sees the sandblast. This time he backs up. He sees he's trying to sandblast anti-air, right? Like, and the sandblast goes through his foot. I can't believe it actually didn't hit him. But he sees it again. As soon as he sees the windup, he's buffering SA2 already up here. So as soon as he sees the windup, lands, I mean, one frame startup on the super, clean punish against Samurai. It was one of those strats that he just kind of kept looking for. And like you said, it was a lot of advantages to the scenario. The first time he was in the corner, so even if he doesn't do it on block, he can still get a combo off of it if he does indeed block it. Here, same thing, right? Even if Samurai doesn't do it, which, I mean, he already saw. He kind of committed to the super because he did it, but for whatever reason, if he committed to the super anyway, it's still going to be most likely fine. He'll be able to rush down Samurai as he has to deal with the level 2. So it was just really good, like, step coverage and layer coverage from Bananakin.
Surprised he could block the Sand Blaster as well. Like,
yeah,
I thought it had some recovery. But
it does. It has 7 frames of recovery, but it's not long enough apparently.
It's not enough.
Yeah.
Oof.
And then, so the other one that I wanted to talk about, let me see here. Oh, this one right here. Let me grab it. So against Ken, I think you have to be very careful about checking drive rushes, right? Because he has suppressor and heavy punch flash knuckle. He has these ways to sway. So in this moment, if I recall correctly, Bananakin, he like backdashes. Yeah, I love that. It's neither suppressor nor the heavy flash knuckle, but I think this is an interesting strat and something that I think players are going to start experimenting with a little bit more as we see drive rushes and the meta kind of develop, right? The jumps and then backdashes. I thought this was such a cool decision here where he just sees it, he backdashes in response, completely whiffs because of it. And I was like, I like the way he did that.
Yeah, I feel like that is a pretty natural evolution, actually, now that you've mentioned it, because obviously, as we mentioned, people are getting better at checking them, so people are pressing buttons earlier.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you do a quick movement option like a backdash, you can force these early buttons to whiff. And obviously, like that Bananakin there will set it up purposely. And you know it was purposeful because he was ready with the punish. Like,
yeah.
Backdash, immediate, crouch, medium punch, full combo. Which is, that's a really sick thing. Kind of something to keep in mind, at least for sure in the future.
And then, you brought up that Samurai was like defending himself great. Like as he was about to burn out, we see another moment of that here. He's like about to burn out. Literally the last bit of drive meter. He burns himself out, and it was on a move that is pretty much guaranteed to get blown up. That was great patience and discipline from Samurai to wait to that moment. Because with that little drive gauge, I'm gonna be mashing it before we get to that pixel. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't realize it actually was that little. Like, how did these 2 jabs not put him in a burnout?
Yeah,
like,
dude.
Like a tiny.
Like what?
They're literally doing like 0.1%. All right.
I was like, wow. So I was real happy we saw him get that off.
Yeah, and he does win this round, obviously, and we get taken to a game number 5, which I thought Samurai played really interestingly, and he played it the right way, I think, but. It's literally, this is why Street Fighter is so hard, is it was a single mistake and that was it, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Do you have anything you want to get to in this final round besides like, the SA2 at the end?
Yeah, there's nothing specific. It was more like, he played it right, he got the life lead, and even against a zoner, as long as you manage your drive gauge correctly, they have to approach you.
Yeah.
And then there was 10 seconds left on the clock, and he doesn't check the approach, and then it's kind of the end.
Yeah, it'd be like that. And then level 2, we get the reset while he's still in burnout. Can't do a damn thing. He had a level 1, but he can't do a damn thing.
I was thinking of another round now I think about it, but
wasn't it the
I think
round
it was the
before
first
this?
round of that last year. It was the first round
Okay.
of which almost went down to time basically. I think it was.
Well, the first round was that SA2. Let me see.
Oh, okay. Oh, maybe it was another game. I can't quite remember.
This was a best of 5, and it went to the final game. So it was definitely, but that happened a couple of times to Samurai, where it looked like he was playing correctly, he was playing clean, and it just kind of fell apart. And it's so easy to do that up against JP. Like it's so easy in this game in general because like people have very powerful offenses, and you make a mistake in a wrong situation, your opponent has a lot of resources, that round just disappears on you.
Especially JP.
Yeah, especially JP. So then, of course, that was Bananakin's Red Rooster team being down 2 matches, though. So we got a best of 1, another best of 1 because of the Bananakin victory, where it was a Mono versus Flash. So yeah, I have a couple of notes for this one, but of course, it's a best of 1, so we're going to get through this one quickly.
I got a couple notes as well.
Okay.
Probably the same notes. But it was pretty cool. I think this was the first win from Mono, actually.
Yeah, okay.
Obviously, he's normally been the tiebreaker player.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's been a couple of times he's played. Yeah, it was my first moment was like 150.05. It was just a really sick moment from Mono to clutch out this round, where obviously we see the Blanca heavy kick, bro.
Yeah.
It's really active, it's really good, but you know what, on whiff it's definitely got one of the largest whiff recoveries. Probably half of his whiff recoveries are actually active frames, but when you don't press anything like that, which is a ballsy thing to do, because I mean he looks in a prime position to land a jump in on, but it's like almost pixel perfect.
Yeah,
That actually gave him a cut. Like, what the hell?
That was my first note as well, as this empty jump and like the stand heavy kick getting so close, bro. Woo! Literally gave him my haircut with it. You know, what's funny too is that I really was impressed by that empty jump back. I was watching Mena matches. It was just like Mena versus, I forgot who. I think it was like a match against a JP player in Japan. It was just like random on YouTube. And he was doing this setup where he would land. I can't remember if it was like light ball meaty into like a mix up, right? Like where he lands in front of you at light ball. And then when the opponent jumps out of it, the JPs would jump back and press that stand medium punch, and they would get hit by stand heavy kick from like half a screen away because of pressing into the stand heavy kick, right? So I love the fact that Mono was like, nah, I know that I'm not supposed to press into that, and just empty jumped. It was really clean.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, that was my first note. The other one that I had was around 150.50. I don't know if this was like, if this kind of made a difference, but it was during the Lightning Beast, and Mono just like stayed standing here. And I don't know if this is what kind of led to the punish, because Flash, he has another Lightning Beast available to cancel into, but he doesn't do it. So I don't know if he wasn't expecting him to block it this high up or something. I don't know what happened, but that definitely was it looked clean for Mono at the very least.
That might have been the case, actually, to be fair, because especially if you're used to like a certain timing, like if you know in your head you got 3 charges left and you spend 2 of them there, and then the third one is buffered, but because you buffered it late, it doesn't come out and you don't react. Like that could easily be the case, actually, now that you mention it.
Yeah, so I wasn't exactly entirely sure, but that was the conclusion I came to. What other timestamps you got for this one?
I'd want it like 150.35, and it was just a really clean way to get out of the corner, especially against DJ, who loves his obviously jump low short. But obviously it's not a cross-up hitbox, so you can kind of pull stuff.
Yes,
the counter really clean. It's just really subtle because it's optimal. Like, yeah, you could anti-air, but hey, why not I just steal the corner on top of it?
Yeah, that's honestly way better. Like, you know what I mean? So I definitely like you pointing that out. Beautiful little walk under to grab the corner, punish the landing frames. I wonder if it's like a Blanca exclusive,
because taller characters might find that a little bit harder.
Probably
the jump knee, but like Blanca, because he's quite low to the ground anyway. Yeah. Being a like Apenal or whatever he is, he definitely has a little bit smaller of a hurt box, like to sneak under there.
And that's a tough move too, because like he actually got a punish counter on that move, which I'm so impressed by, because like when you actually anti-air this move, you can never get a punish counter because it's active the whole way down. Yeah, so it's like it's never in recovery, so you have to get a landing frame punish to get a PC. So yeah, definitely dope stuff from Flash. But like you said, Mono was able to take it at the end, really enduring the Lightning Beast, land the damage fly. Good stuff to Mono. Always enjoy seeing both of these fellas, honestly, on SFL. For the last set, we had versus Vortex versus Bandits. And the first match was Xian versus Xiao Hai, if I am not mistaken. Let me get to that one. Yeah. Here we go. Wow.
This was a pretty interesting game.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. I think it's Xiao Hai wins. I'm pretty sure it does. Yeah. It came down to a really big scramble, which I do want to talk about. But I think my first potent point isn't into 213.55.
Okay.
Which is more just a funny moment where, look, DJ's got nowhere to go. He can't move, but he's still swaying, man. He can't stop himself. look at this guy. He's like, minus frames. I have to do it. I can't get out of here, bro. And it works as well.
Yeah, the fact that it worked too. Didn't even move
that's
back.
The worst part. It would have been funnier if he just went off the screen, you know, sway work like that.
Yeah, right? Yeah, he just part of his character model just disappeared, bro.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And I would be complaining.
Yeah, a lot of what I have for this is that there was like some good jumps from Xian over the fireballs. It really felt like Xiao Hai abused the drive rush jab, especially I believe in round 2 of game 1. Yeah, this round where he just won. A lot of drive rush jab abuse. Xian was able to kind of challenge here and there. One of the big things I think I have is this 6 side switch combo. I want to take a look at this. I think there was a 6 side switch combo.
Yeah, I think I know the one. I got that moment. Just go back like 5 seconds.
Okay. From the previous one or this right here?
No, from this right here.
Okay.
Like, it's just a funny anti-air dragon lash.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, I was talking about how this move, like, oh, maybe it's not that good. I'm like, nah, it's still pretty decent.
Just vacuums him from the sky, bro.
Yeah, from space.
That was wild.
And it leads into this amazing punish, by the way. I also had it as like, how optimal is this punish, by the way?
Yeah. Yeah, 6 side. Yeah, into the burnout. Like, that was so clean, bro. Like, that was so cool.
Good. How to win a game 101 right here.
Yeah. I really love that. And then, yeah, baits out the super. Just it's a very clean sequence from Xian right there.
Yeah, takes a lot of like foresight to do that, but that's the lovely thing about punish counter DIs is you get a lot of time to think. So you know, if you don't have your best punish counter like in your head for the situation, then you know you're not good enough.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's funny you brought up the sway in the corner. I feel like I have another timestamp that kind of relates to that a little bit. When's your next one?
So mine's not till that last scramble moment. So it's
okay.
2:18:25.
Okay, so it's coming up for me here in a second, where it feels like Xian would do like Sobot earlier in the game, and then he would do like backdash or sway or whatever the DJs do after Sobot to kind of retreat and gain some space a little bit and start manipulating you again. And I believe he does it here. And Xiao Hai earlier on, while it was like mid-screen, he didn't really chase him down because of all the little dangers that can happen when you try to chase some DJ down off of stuff like this.
Yeah.
But here, he's like, look, your sway, you ain't got nowhere to go, baby. You're in the corner. Like, so the sway does move him back a little bit, but not enough to really have him escape this jab. I really like Xiao Hai just kind of chasing him down right there. And then, yeah, the last one I have after that is just a very unfortunate way for Xian to lose. Oh, actually one more before that. My bad.
Okay.
This is what I was talking about when it comes to the late stand heavy kick. Yeah, that right there. That's what I was talking about earlier. So like a lot of the times people are trying to jump back and then they'll press a pretty late button.
Punish. That's crazy.
Yeah, that one wasn't as late as some buttons get pressed when they jump back, but it was still. The point of this jump heavy kick was to stuff the chase down attempt, right? Like that was the point of this.
Yeah.
So the fact that he was able to do drive rush and then like the stand fierce, just beating it entirely, I was like, wow, that was really impressive.
I mean, he went so far to get that punish. Yeah. Kind of mad actually. I'm a bit annoyed. DJ managed to make it that far across the screen. Like you see him sway from half screen and you jump back and he punishes you. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, that's true too.
Like,
that's a good point.
So far.
It came after a sway. You're like, bro, how did you get here? Like,
whoa! And he gets a pickup. Imagine that's a button to level 3 and that's how you lose $1 million. Like, dude, what the hell, bro?
Exactly right. Like, very possible. So yeah, that I was like, wow, that was impressive. And then yeah, real unfortunate here. He ends up getting like the throw bait and then just drops the combo.
Is this like I can't tell if he presses it too late or is that like a privileged hurtbox interaction? You see, like the hurt animation from Ken.
Yeah.
Is it because he's wincing downwards here? Like he's like slightly buckled over. I can't tell if he's recovered and going into a crouching animation here, or what it is. But yeah. I mean, I'm gonna assume it's that because I know that the hurtboxes have to be done well, where the animation doesn't always have to match, but obviously that whiffs if you're crouching, or it whiffs like at some ranges anyway. But I'm wondering, like, is that just some Ken hurtbox shenanigans or something? I don't know.
Yeah, it was an unfortunate way for him to go down to, and usually Xian is like so good at little stuff like that and doesn't let like differentiating hurtboxes or spaces slip through the cracks. So it was a very rare moment to see, but nonetheless, yeah, definitely big ups to Xiao Hai taking that one. And then next up we had Chris T versus NL to continue the Bandits versus Vortex gameplay. Let's see here. Which good set from what I recall. I have a number of notes on it. We're not gonna get to all of them, but yeah, definitely a good set from what I recall.
Yeah, I didn't really have too many like things to break down as such. Those were some really cool moments for sure. So for me, the first one that comes up is at like 2:22:30. which is sort of, I think ChrisCCH knows his opponent here as well. It's like he knows Reynald is going to try to do something here. Obviously, strike throw situation. He waits for it. Good punish. Looking for the burnout, and now manage to get a clutch parry. And then from this situation, like how he closes this game out is like, it's this jump air to air Tatsu. Oh, it's juicy. Best anti-air combo you could have had at that point.
100%. I have this whole round down as just a sick round from ChrisCCH. Like you said, from the beginning, right? Like literally the way it starts, he gets the perfect parry on the sandblast into the punish. Beautiful way for it to start. He gets this, he baits out the ODDP, and then from there he ends up baiting out another button where he gets a whiff punish. Yeah, that one right there on the stand heavy kick, and then as you mentioned, like the cleanest air to air combo, so clean. Yep. Keeps him locked down in the corner, gives you a bunch of damage on top of it. Yeah, I just really love that round from Chris.
Was just like I said, basically every decision was right in that moment, and that's how quickly a game can be won when you're that good in Street Fighter 6.
And, we were going over like pressing after lights and whatnot, and how that's a big part of the meta. This is another note I had down around 226.05. Let me know if you have something around here before that. But
at 225.05, we just had like a good sequence from ChrisCCH. This is a nice sequence from Reynald, I think. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I guess we'll find out together.
Yeah, the driver's tick
I should make better notes for this stuff like this. I think it was maybe some footsies. The walk up throw like that was kind of clean. And then here he's trying to bait it again, no tag, but this time he knows he's looking for that low forward because he's moving around so much, right? So you're like, how do I stop this guy moving? You try and get that low forward range, and I was just waiting for it.
Yeah, that kind of like rolls into my point because, like I said, there was this moment where you always try to take your turn back after lights, right? But you got to respect these options like suppressor. Let me see what time stamp this actually is. Okay, I went a little bit. Okay, it's about to be happening right now. These moves that are able to kind of manipulate, like we just saw the DJ sway, like we see HP flash knuckle. Suppressor's another one of these moves, like even here, right, where it's like he's kind of in the corner. I don't know if it really takes him back anymore, but it's just the concept, right? It kind of applies the same way. And in here, the trade actually allows him to combo, so that was just privilege anyway.
Well, I guess it's like a heavy clashing on medium, so
yeah.
But yeah, I like that. I mean, like I said, he's not got nowhere to go specifically, but I think he's more or less like if ChrisCCH pressed the jab there, he might have shifted his hurtbox back enough.
Exactly, like obviously for a reversal timing jab, yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, the low forward was there, but the low forward is slower, so it didn't actually check the button at the same time.
And then I have this down as ChrisCCH taking one out of AngryBird's book. Yeah, we see the whiff punish stand light kick DI, a classic Ken strat at this point.
Good, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, again, no one's buffering super there, so in some ways it's guaranteed. Yeah, I think my only other point was the ending. The ending was a little bit sad for ChrisCCH, I think it was.
Yeah, it was for ChrisCCH. So before we get to the ending, and this is the only other thing I really want to bring up, is here. He does, he blocks the stand medium kick, and then he walks up and jabs. I like this because, like, this is a concept that we see a lot, and usually, like, I called it out with the JP, where you do crouch medium kick, and then you walk up throw. And, like, that's, I think, how we mainly see this kind of represented, where you'll block a minus button and then you'll walk up and throw somebody. I like the fact that he walked up and jabbed, right? Like, that was a lot of respect for NL's reactions, his ability to play the RPS himself. So instead of like walking up all the way in his grill and throwing, he just walked up enough to where NL will think he's going to throw, and he pressed jab and got the counter hit. I really like that.
That is something you genuinely have to learn if you want to get good offensively as a player as well, is like when someone presses a minus button, and you're specifically when your back's in the corner, like how do I stop myself getting bullied in the corner? Like, you have to walk forward, but you can't walk forward too much. You have to then press your button to interrupt them or whatever they want to do. But it's like such a tight timing, and it's definitely, depending on the player, depends when you have to press it. And for someone like Enel is obviously waiting a little bit longer. I don't know, he looks like he was crouching, so maybe that's maybe the money button. But probably, you know, why? Well, of course it would be. But it's something you got to get good at, is like just being able to stuff those buttons when someone does something minus, but they're waiting for you to walk forward and trying to stop your approach.
And then, yeah, like you said, a little bit of fortune at the end for Chris, I believe. But this is the final moments of the round. Came down really close. And yeah, the counter hit, confirm into level 2. I really like that.
Because he lives on a sliver.
Yeah.
And he gets like a pretty nice punish here. And then, unfortunately, he's one step behind. He burns himself out. And at this point, like, as soon as you throw that fireball, you have to jump. Like, you just have to pray. Because if you block, obviously, the suppressor plus the follow-up. That was chip. That was a lot of chip, to be fair.
All right, hold on 1 second, bro.
Okay. Hello? Oh.
All right, my bad. Just had to answer a call real quick.
Oh,
but yeah, that was it for this set between NL and Chris T.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I really wanted to highlight on. And then DCQ and MenaRD to close it out, of course, 2 Titans of SFL. Let me see. The first note I have here is at about 2:31:21. Do you have one before that?
No, I actually don't have like many notes on this
Okay.
set, to be fair. So you can take the reins.
So the first one I have,
one.
and it's really just a question. My whole note is, did Mena just whiff punish with heavy flash knuckle? And let me see that again, because I don't remember the moment specific. That one. I think this might have just been like a thing he was throwing out, and it was convenient timing. But man, like the way Mena be, sometimes I second guess if it was something that he reacted to.
I want to say that's intentional because he perfect parried the ghost and he waited. Like normally people, well, at least JP players, when they see you perfect parry the ghost or they do that sub, they'll kind of wait for you to drive rush and stick the button out. But obviously, you know, the heavy flash knife was going to be able to whiff punish stuff like that.
Yeah, so I was like, whew. I was like, all right, that's how you opened it up, bro. All right.
I feel you.
I think that there was this is another timestamp I have of just, again, one of those moments that come up in this game a little bit that we like recognizing, where I believe Mena takes the hit here to avoid getting burnt out. Yeah,
that was
right
my
there.
Point.
Oh, okay, this was
really
the first point you
clutch.
had? Yeah.
Yeah, so like it's just the idea that there's not many games that let you interact while like getting hit, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Or by getting hit, I should say. But this is definitely one of those moments. And then I had to wait. I had to keep watching. I was like, oh, well, if he goes to burn out straight afterwards, then like it's not that clutch.
Yeah.
But he doesn't.
He doesn't. Yeah.
And like I'm like shit. So he took that hit, clutches it out. It doesn't go against him burnout against JP with CA on deck, which definitely would have been very scary to fight. And even just that tiny bit of drive gauge was enough to recover him to this point.
Yeah, it was wild. I was like, wow, definitely, like, I feel like you said, a lot of the time when I see people take the hit, it often results in them getting burnt out in like just a few seconds after.
Yeah.
So the fact that Mena was able to like make it work here and it actually didn't put him in a burnout immediately, I thought it was very impressive too.
Yeah, I mean he still lost, but like it wasn't because of that decision, right? That was a big thing. That was he needed to find the one hit. Like he just overextended once, and then obviously JP was CA. That's gonna put you in burnout, and then it was tough from there.
I have this down. I just had this down at funny round start, so I didn't actually remember what happened, but this is indeed a funny round start. Now that I looked at it, let's see here again. I believe it's right here.
Oh, I think I remember this one. Street Fighter 6.
Yeah. Hop forward, parry into parry. Oh man, that's good stuff right there.
Oh, that's actually golden.
Yeah, I was like, all right, guys, you guys know how to play this game, huh? And this is one of those situations I was talking about earlier, where I said, actually, do you have one before this? Because I just noticed that I skipped into a game forward.
You go ahead.
Okay, so this is one of those setups that I was talking about, where like he does ball. Actually, this is not the one I was talking about. This was just a sick ball punish counter combo that I was like, wow. I always forget that you can extend like this in the corner, like bruh, into the level 1 for the kill, bro. I was like, wow.
You know the crazy thing about that setup right there was like, go back a bit, and MenaRD does the wild nail on block. I think he's looking to.
Oh, there we go.
And then DCQ's looking to get into range for low forwards. like he's already in range, but he's like trying to walk forward.
This is what I was talking about earlier, by the way. The stand heavy kick on the jump medium punch.
Oh, yes, this jump medium. Yeah.
So continue your point now, though.
I
Sorry.
think it's the link. Yeah, sorry. And then, so yeah, DCQ is walking up right there because he's already in range, but he expects MenaRD to walk back, and then MenaRD just walks even further back. That's nuts. Footsies, baby.
Yeah. Oh man, what a huge punish, brother. Yeah, the damage on that joint was wild. Oh man, but yeah, and then
balls and a super. Yeesh.
Yeah, and then like, what is this? This was another moment where I was talking about where like he has these meaty setups, right? He does the ball for the meaty, you jump away, don't press a button. Do not press a button when you jump away because this stand heavy kick is nothing to play with. It has such a disjointed like anti-air hitbox, is crazy.
Oh yeah, it's also not even that. It's just so active that
not
extending your hurtbox into it. Like it's just you can't do that.
We've been saying it from the beginning. How is it 7 frame startup, 9 frames active? How does it have more active frames? How, bro?
Oh, I get if it was like a multi-hit move and there was like a gap, but nah, it's just one solid move of monkey flip.
Yeah, and then
literally,
I love this command grab because Mena had just. He had beaten him, or not beaten him, but he had gotten 2 significant hits off of ball meaty into you jumping away from the throw attempt and then you getting anti-air, right? So after that, he's like, all right, I've conditioned him to no longer jump. Brings out the command grab. A classic Mena command grab, too, because it ends the round.
I think it would also be out like a OD Amnesia as well. It would have probably hit late enough.
That's a good idea.
But with DCQ, so he probably is not going to be an OD Amnesia, so we don't have to worry about that.
Oh, man. Let me see. And then I have a few more. I'm trying to think if there's any ones that I really want to bring to the table here. Oh, I liked this moment, actually. We see a very ballsy, like, hold parry from Mena here, but it ends up resulting in so much drive gauge. Like, my goodness, bro.
So good. So greedy. I love it.
Yeah. Like, what was it? This is about a bar and 2/3, and then he holds the parry and ends up getting, what, almost 4 bars back? I was like all right.
You know, like, I never thought why I enjoyed doing it so much, but I think it's kind of like, if you imagine, like, a key charge, you know, like from Dragon Ball, it's just like doing that and gaining, like, 4 bars, and your opponent doesn't punish you for it. It's like, yummy. It's so
like,
good.
Oh, so much resources.
Exactly. Like, oh, I get a dry rush so much more now.
Let me see. Oh, I had at this point. I just really love the spacing of this moment here. We get like a stand heavy kick non-counter hit, right? So it's not gonna be a full combo.
Oh yeah.
So Mena just goes bam, forward heavy punch, perfect range, catches.
Meaty.
Yeah, catches JP trying to press jab. Fortunately, he doesn't get a combo, but you know, it was dope.
Sick either way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about this moment. And oh yeah, it was actually this moment right here where he busts out the fake rainbow ball cross up for the round win.
So janky. Like he actually stopped midair and
Yeah.
stayed same side. Like what?
I
got
what?
mixed. Yeah, like he loses all. I think it's because it's in the corner. It looks whack, but he's like he starts drifting. Like what? Just the handbrakes on.
Legitimately, that's what it looks like. It looks like he just completely cuts his momentum off. I was like, bruh. All right then.
Yeah, I got mixed.
Let me see. Oh, I like this too. This was. Oh, I think that was it right there. The
low pressure blankable.
Yes. So like, I've seen people deal with JP's drive rushes more and more like this, where they jump, right? They're like, I'm just trying to jump away from this. I don't want to play any games with it. But a lot of the times with other characters, you can't actually get a punish. You just jump away and then you go back to neutral. At least you're not at a disadvantage. With Blanca, you actually get the punish. It's pretty neat.
Yeah.
This character's pretty good.
One of the upsides of the blankable, man. It's like any sort of TK move you can do to low crush or throw bait on things like that. I mean, blankable is definitely one of the better ones because it's just so reliable. Even there, like baiting out the anti-air.
Yeah, I really like that.
Super sick. I mean, I think it's a thing you can only do doing it off the hop, of course, because you need back charge. So the hop being how you jump forward while holding back. So it's something to keep in mind that, you know, it's not going to happen every time. It's not like you're playing in another game where they do like, you know, jump forward dive kick or playing against Cammy or something. But is still annoying to deal with.
Yeah, and then just some brave reads here from DCQ at the end, right? Like he wakes up with the Super R1.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm willing to risk it here. Obviously, if it's blocked, he dies, but he's willing to risk it. It works out, and then he's like, I'm going for the greed, brother. Drive rush overhead for the W, and then sometimes the greed pay off.
Yes, it's mad. I mean, especially like to meaty someone after you just hit them with a reversal. I feel like you got to be built different to do that.
Yeah.
Because like you just put an idea into their head, like they're thinking about reversing.
Yeah,
now,
exactly.
And then you're just, and when you meet them, you're like, I don't care what you think.
Yeah. Go ahead, use what I just did against me. See if I care.
Yeah, try it. Even if it'd kill me, I don't care.
Yeah, so I was just like, all right then, yeah, DCQ. But he's one of those, right? He really will put his cojones on the table when it comes to fighting games. So definitely big ups to him. Oh, I was going to move back to us, but here are the standings. After week 10, we got Nasser at the top, 290, Bandits 235. Narrowly getting past versus Vortex, who also had 230. Yeah, very close between these two squads. Red Rooster also needed a big day today. Didn't quite happen, but 195, 190. Honestly, the whole top 5 teams were very close. Endemic didn't perform as much as they wanted to, you know what I mean? But nonetheless, I thought it was a dope season of SFL NA.
Yeah, obviously not over yet with the playoffs, but yeah, I think all the teams, like I said, brought something to the table uniquely, and they were all entertaining to watch in their own way, you know? So it was never like, you never got a matchup between two teams where you're like, oh, it's these guys, like you're not really that invested.
Yeah.
Like all the teams had so much to offer, and again, the players themselves were getting so good by the end of the season that it was so hard to call the games. Yeah, even among like the lower tier teams and the higher tier teams. Yeah,
the hyperbolic time chamber of SFL is very real, and I think all of the players, whatever region they're in, Japan, EU, NA, everybody that gets to be a part of SFL benefits greatly from it, because it literally is just a boot camp of high level fighting games, right?
That's what you got to focus on, and how you getting paid to do it as well. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, like the motivation is there, the bags, they're like everything is good vibes when people are a part of SFL. So big ups to everybody that competed in the regular season. We're gonna be doing this for the playoffs as well. I want to try to get some stats recorded for the playoffs. I should have done it for the regular season, but at the time I thought of doing it, there was already like 8 weeks into it, and doing it for the entire regular season, yeah, it was just gonna take me too much time. So I do want to do it for the playoffs. We'll be back. You down to do this for the playoffs too, right?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, you know, we're stuck in it for 10 weeks now.
Yeah.
So it would be a shame to miss them, honestly, at this point. Yeah.
All right.
Got to see how it ends.
Yes, indeed. So we'll be back again sometime soon with the first playoffs. I don't know if there's gonna be multiple playoff episodes of SFL NA, but we'll be back with those episodes to cover as well. So thanks everybody for tuning in. You got anything to say before we get out of here, Lazarus?
No, nothing new from me. I mean, if you want to know where I'll be soon, I'll be going to Xian Cup in France. I don't know if anyone's going to watch and here's going to be going there for the Grand Blue Fantasy World Tour qualifier event. Should be very, very fun. The venue looks really sick. It's in a science museum. It's weird, but I'm excited just to see the museum itself.
All right. So check out my man Lazarus at the Xian Cup. We'll be around the way bringing you materials and content and all that. Until next time, be good, everybody, to each other and to yourselves. Peace out.